evening, everyone, and welcome along to WOR. We are here tonight for Console Tier 1. It is Season 19. It's Round 7 of the Championship, and we take in the Hungarian Grand Prix from Magno Nadadec, otherwise known as the Hungaroring. My name is James Head. You might have missed me on Tuesday. You can't get rid of me, and you can't put me down for that long. I'm going to be filling in for Gareth Davies here tonight as your lead commentator. Joining me in the commentary box, a leopard never changes his spots, but he changes the commentator that he's alongside. It is Mr. LTR Leopard. Leopard, how you doing?
I am not doing too bad. Not doing too bad, mate. Good to hear you're doing well and back in the commentary box. And yeah, it should be a fascinating one here at the Hungaroring. Obviously, final race before the Christmas break here for Console Tier 1. And yeah, should be a good one and a key one as well, to say the least.
An absolute key one indeed. And if it's anything to go by from what happened, of course, last week in Zandvoort, Joe Murphy did take the race win. It could technically be counted as a BRT 1-2 with Tech finishing in second, thrown into the WR Legacy Division days potentially there. Ren's finishing in third, though. That closed up the championship, but what a race last week was. I mean, 3.4 seconds covering the top 10. Cameron Dowd's getting into strife. It had pretty much everything.
Yeah, it did. It was as far as, a race as Zandvoort goes, it was definitely you could almost argue a classic. It was just a phenomenal race, no one able to get away, as is tradition on this game. And, it was a good race, good racing. Everyone, I think, kept it relatively clean. I don't think from memory was too outlandish from the drivers. But yeah, now we have another similar kind of circuit here at the Hungaroring. Similar nature to Zandvoort. So yeah, should be interesting to see what happens here tonight.
Yeah, Hungaroring, of course, getting a brand new pit building and everything, and obviously going to be homologated once again for FIA Grade 1 level once again. They're undergoing loads of track renovations at this moment in time. Currently saw a photo yesterday, actually, on social media about that, but Ren Thomason leads the championship lead coming into tonight, 79 points for his name. Joe Murphy did wrap up the win last week. He did close in the advantage as well to 5 points. He's there in second. The Brit, not the fake Venezuelan, not the fake Irishman, whatever we like to call him normally in WR Legacy Division. He's there in second on 74. Gabor there in third on 67. Then a bit of a jump down to Cameron Dowd in fourth on 45. He is quite strong in qualifying around here, so do not back out from the Flying Scotsman whatsoever. Brando there in 5th on 43, Justin there in 6th on 36, then Tech in 7th on 32, Ryan also on 32 and 8th, then Epic Vale in 9th on 29, and then Owen rounding off the top 10 on 29 points as well. Ren Thomason obviously holding a 5-point lead coming into tonight, Leopard, and Joe Murphy obviously wrapping up the win last week. This title picture is all to play for with 12 points separating the top 3 drivers.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's been all to play for, right from the very beginning. No one's really, pulled clear, and properly stamped their authority on this championship. Yes, Renz has probably looked like he's had a slight edge over the field over the course of this season. He's been the most consistent. He's brought the most, the best results. And really after last week, it's kind of the first time where we've seen, a group of drivers kind of begin to separate themselves from the chasing pack. Because going into last week, it was still very close. You could probably still name 6, 7, 8. That was still very much within contention. Now, obviously, with only 4 rounds to go, and you've certainly, obviously, you got 3. You got Rens Thomason, Joe Murphy, you got Gabor, all separated by 12 points. They're still, it's kind of the first time in the season where you can really say, yes, they are the contenders, they are the main guys, they are the ones we're going to be looking out for. Does that mean to say the likes of Cameron Dowds, Brando, Justin, and whatnot are out of the equation? No, not at all. It just means they need to really, starting tonight, begin what will be a strong, and I mean strong end to the season, basically needing, I'd say, at least 3 out of 4 podiums with a win or 2 to go with it.
Yeah, definitely so. I'm sorry, by the way, there is a few audio issues going on there. Joe Murphy no longer run down in towards turn number 1. We will see on board then with the fake Irishman, the fake Briton. Oh, well, he's not the fake Briton. He is a British coming down in toward the left-hander of turn number 2. Now through the right-hander of turn number 3. We'll see what he can do, of course, in the kick saber. The only kick saber actually that's here tonight was meant to be Justin, I think. Alongside him, he's not available. 26.3 in the first sector from Joe Murphy. Not looking too bad at all. He definitely needs to put a banker lap in even if it's in the early stages of qualifying, needs to put this lap in, has got Renz Thomason
James,
directly...
you're cutting out.
Oh, am I? Uh-oh. Give me a second. You can hear me on OBS, so apologies about this. Joe Murphy out on top, though, currently, now coming to the right-hander at turn number 11, into the right-hander at turn number 12. I'll fix my audio issues very soon. 2.1 in that middle sector from Joe Murphy, now into the left-hander of turn number 13, and we'll see what he can do into the final corner, turn number 14. Will, as I say, fix any audio issues going on in due course. Joe Murphy now through the final corner. On the run toward the line, he will come, and he goes with a 1:13.1 to start off the night. Not a bad lap time there at all from Joe Murphy. I am going to do the good old phrase of just disconnecting, and then reconnecting back in, just like that. Hopefully, everything is now fixed.
I think on first impressions we're a bit clearer now, James. So we'll hopefully we'll be all good from now.
Hopefully it's just Discord issues. Oh, it's disconnected. Oh my god.
Oh no.
We should be back. I hope we should be back now. Apologies about that. Joe Murphy had a top red tagging all the time. Bloody hell.
It's all good. Got time. Before I get serious.
Yeah, hopefully we are okay. Hopefully everything's just kicking back in now. Apologies. This is the first time I'm streaming in about 2 weeks, so blame it all on me. Blame it all on me being ill as well. Blame everything on me. Joe Murphy out on top, the Renz Thomason in second, Cameron Dowds there in third. I think we should be relatively back now, so apologies about if you just missed the last minute there of qualifying. But in the end, Leopard, Joe Murphy out on top, Renz Thomason second, Cameron Dowds third. Pretty much exactly how we expect qualifying to be right now.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's interesting. You got those kind of, certainly 3 out of the 4 main players, and of course you definitely cannot discount Cameron Dowds. So it's kind of, you got probably the main 4 guys you could say at the moment in console tier 1 right at the top of the timing screens, heading the front 2 rows. And yeah, Joe Murphy has got a little bit of time in his back pocket, kind of similar to Renz in Zandvoort. Just looked like he had an extra, half tenth or tenth in his back pocket. Could be a similar case now, but this time for Joe Murphy here at the Hungaroring. We'll see. That's first impressions.
Yeah, definitely first impressions indeed. At the moment in time, though, a 10th and a quarter covering the top 4. Gabor also throwing himself there into the mix as well, as Brando's now on the run down in towards turn number 1. Former TRT man, now part of the TF10 lineup, the Team TF10 lineup going forward in not only WOR division, but in also team events, in other team events as well. Also signing Renz Thomason recently as well, as much as Tuesday evening. So Brando, now part of the Team TF10 lineup, now coming to the right-hand of turn number 3. On the run up the hill in towards turn number 4, we will see what the Italian can do. 26.4 in the first sector, now coming through the right-hand of turn number 5.
Yep, indeed, looking relatively tidy so far for the new TF10 driver, and now we approach the middle sector, where a lot of time can be gained and lost, although you can then again say that for all this trouble. Now, here we go then, through the S's. Looks relatively tidy so far, maybe nothing crazy, but that's what you'd expect for a first run or first go at it. Here at the Hungaroring, 52.316 is the split time, as now we approach the last sector. Maybe a little bit wide, I don't know if you can mount that curb or not in this game, that inside curb, but either way. Now through the penultimate corner, using a bit of curbs to rotate the car, and now a little bit of overtake for a final burst before the final corner, and now you're waiting, now full throttle, and now it's all overtake to the line. What's it going to be for the McLaren? He's up to P7.
He nearly got put off by his own teammate there in Dirk coming towards the line. Dirk then just starting up on his lap time there down in 9th position. Obviously going to try and see how he gets on. Gabor is on a lap time right now. Renz Thomason on a lap. Joe Murphy's coming through the first sector split now. We'll see what his first sector split is. 26.2, he's up in the first sector, 600's up. According to the purple, no, he's not purple anymore. He flings it through the right-hand turn number 5. Big snap of oversteer halfway through the corner. And in the end, Joe Murphy's done very, very well to keep that from even going towards the wall there. Joe Murphy out on top, Renz Thomason second. Cameron Dowds in third, but Joe Murphy does not want to be doing and creeping those mistakes in too often in this qualifying session. We have seen him very, very strong around here in the past. We've seen him very, very strong in qualifying in general in WOR Console Tier 1 and indeed in WOR Legacy Division. Renz Thomason, though, is trying to bounce back, and he is in this middle sector. Now coming to the middle sector split, and he's a 10th and a half up. So now, Renz Thomason all of a sudden piling the pressure onto Joe Murphy.
Yeah, indeed. Took a bit more curb compared to Brando through that third to last corner of turn 12. And now, once again, all about the final corner. Waiting now, full throttle. Use much road as possibly can. The car off in the background, and here comes Rens Thompson. 1 minute 13 dead. He's on provisional pole position. It's Haastra, but meanwhile, Cameron Downs himself has gone purple through sector 2.
Yeah, purple through sector 2, 52.2. It was Gabor, the one that was actually spun coming through the final corner. So Gabor there down in fourth position, spinning it through the final couple of corners. As you see something?
Held up. Yeah, no, just watching Cameron Downs just got a little bit twitchy on exit. Traction just not what he wanted on the exit of turn 13, the penultimate corner, and he actually, as a result, decides to bail out of that lap, which won't be too much of a concern. There we go, that's the word. With 9.5 minutes remaining in the session, especially when you're currently in P3. So, you know, nothing to panic about from that one little mistake. You'll still have another go or two at it yet.
Yeah, definitely so. Rens Thomas and the Wad on top, 300th of a second to the good over Joe Murphy currently in second. Cameron Dodge there in third, Gabor fourth, Quantum there in fifth, and it's Owen, Volokonga, Mustache, Alpha Gully, Ryan top 10, then Brando, Dirk, Phantom, Hazara, Andrea top 15, Spicer there in 16th as well. 13.773 currently the bottom time, 13 flat even from Rens Thomason there on the top. About 7/10 per second covering the top 16 drivers right now. Epic Vale though, a driver that I normally think does quite well around here in qualifying, the Italian, down in 19th position, struggling early on. Ryan and Radadel both having qualifying bans, which is why you're not seeing them in this qualifying session tonight. But Epic Vale, as soon as I say that, is he's now just coming out on for a lap right now. He's down in P20, hasn't got a lap time on the board. As is Oscar, who was actually joining the session as well. And Oscar, from PSGL PSF1, is very good around here in qualifying, backs it up in the race. He might be an outside chance, even though he's had no practice coming into tonight.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I haven't seen a huge amount of Oscar, but I did see him on Tuesday, and yeah, he put in a very decent performance as Zandvoort, so if that's anything to go by, we'll see what maybe a lack of practice will do, but he certainly shows he has good pace in the locker at the tracks like this.
Definitely so. Apologies, I was just clearing my throat there. Epic Vale is about to start on his lap time. They're down in P20. Obviously, with the Williams still yet to set a lap time really on the board. Rens Thomason though out on top. Joe Murphy second. Cameron Dodge they're currently in third position with a 13 flats for 13.2 covering the top three. At this moment in time, looks like everything is all good in terms of the audio. Looks like everything is good in terms of the stream. Epic Vale, though, is now coming to the final couple of corners. In fact, I think Joe Murphy has just started on a run.
Yeah,
coming through the right-handed turn number 3. Yeah, on the run up the hill and towards turn number 4 then. On board with Joe Murphy. 26.3 down in the first sector. Compared to Rens, 26.2, 26.2 from Cameron Dowd in the first sector. Joe Murphy's down in the first, but can he back it up in the middle and the final?
Let's find out. Looked maybe a tad scruffy from the kick Sauber through sector 1. Just missed a couple apexes, overshot them a little bit. Maybe that could be just the way he's, you know, attacking that first sector. They will have to wait and see if he can tidy it up for the race or future qualifying runs. But sector 2, I must say, did look tidy. And there you go. He's had half a tenth or so, maybe just over. And now he's just got to back it up through this last sector now. Looks tidy so far. This penultimate corner can be so tricky, especially on the throttle. Deceptively tricky on the throttle. And now throw it into the final corner once again. Oh, backs out of it. Thought he was going to hit the pit wall. And had to steer out of it to avoid ripping off that front right tyre. And again, another lap goes begging for last week's race winner.
Yeah, and that's another mistake creeping in from Joe Murphy within qualifying. And at this moment in time, he looks a little bit rattled. Rens Thomason, 13 flat. Cameron Dowd's on a 13.2. He's just starting up on a run as well. Epic Vale, by the way, is not on a run right now. Now there's Cameron Dowd because he's actually invalidated in the middle sector somewhere. So there he's down in third position. Gabor there in fourth, just starting up on a run as well. Joe Murphy has got the pressure piled on him right now. Rens Thomason out on top in this current qualifying session with 6 minutes to go. Joe Murphy second, Cameron Dowd in third, Gabor there in fourth. All of the title rivals that are around him right now, Joe Murphy, are there either ahead of him or just directly behind him by about a tenth of a second. So it is very, very close. We could see some drivers upsetting the apple cart as well. Gabor looked pretty decent through the first sector. The Hungarian, the local homeboy, now coming through the chicane at 6 and 7.
Yeah, through the middle sector, he'll want to impress in his home Grand Prix. I mean, what a better time to do it, although that looks a bit scruffy through sector 2, just the back end not sticking, maybe just turning a little bit early as well. Looks like he got it a little bit wrong, but who am I to know? Yeah, there you go. Half a tenth slips away from the Hungarian, but he might be able to make it up through the last sector. Maybe looks a bit more bit more exuberant the driving style potentially for the Hungarian. A little bit car moving around a little bit more in comparison to the likes of Renz or Joe Murphy. There you go. Renz puts it to the top of the timing screen. He's into the 12s. First man into the mid-12s. Here comes Gabor, and he's very frustrated. You can see the weaving, and again, it's a non-improvement for the Hungarian. What's Cameron Dow's got in his locker? Well, that lap's gone. Sorry, Cameron.
Yep, that time has gone indeed. Dirk going 5th, Kongan going 3rd as well. Has had a great spin around here in PSL, PSF1 in the past. Quantum looking quite good as well. 600's up in the middle sector. Now coming to the right-hander of the final corner. On the run toward the line comes the Alpine. Does he defy the laws of physics? Not quite, but he goes 4th, 1,000th of a second behind Kongan. Very good lap time, though, on the board. Owen, by the way, went 8th. Same lap time as Gabor. Set it after Gabor. That's why he is down in 8th. There in 7th as at moment in time. Alpha Gully, C Gully as I like to call him in commentary these days, down in 11th position. Brando there also in 12th, and Brando's actually improving. A 10th and a half in the middle sector. 52-1 in the middle sector from the McLaren. Not looking too bad. He's looking to try and put himself up there. Certainly with Joe Murphy, Volokong and Quantum, Cameron Dad. That sort of area is where we're thinking with Brando. Now coming to the right-hander of turn number 14 through the final corner, flicking it really close towards the pit wall there. On the run to the line comes Brando, and he goes 5th in the end. So he actually puts it between Quantum and Brando, pretty much exactly where I want him to go. He has done, and in the end, he's there in 5th. Dirk, I think, also improved into 7th, so good lap time from him. Ren's though out on top, 0.2 of a second. In my eyes, I think Leopard, that's pole position for me for Renz.
I wouldn't discount it just yet. I mean, we've seen, Joe Murphy has, had a couple laps, go aside, and, Cameron hasn't really improved on that first go. Neither has a good ball, so I won't quite rule it out just yet. I mean, what was chat saying for pole predictions?
Low 0.7, maybe a 0.6, some?
I think that's, from what we can see, that looks like a bit of a stretch. Tex said a 0.9, which is what Renz has got, and a low 0.9 at that, but I wouldn't... Look, I'm not going to make any predictions just yet. I wouldn't throw in the towel just yet if I was Joe Murphy or if I was Gabor or anyone, really, going for pole position. I reckon these drivers do have enough time, to... time in their back pocket. To maybe just sneak pole position. But Renz is in a good position, and he has, at the very least, he got himself a good starting position no matter what happens.
I'm going to back it up, actually, with George there in the chat. I think maybe a very high 0.7, I think, could be a sneak for pole position for Renz Thomason. He has got very good lap times around on this track in time trial and indeed in qualifying in the past. Joe Murphy, though, is coming up into the left-hander turn number 4. His first sector, 8900s up, much better through the first sector, 26.2. Clips it slightly on the grass there, coming to the left-hander 4. Now to the right-hander turn number 5. Just lost him a little bit of time. Now coming through the 6 and 7. Out of sync compared to absolutely everybody currently in qualifying. So this is now his lap time. This is doom or bust now, or boom or bust, quite literally, for Joe Murphy in terms of this qualifying session. Now coming to the right-hander of this middle sector split, 52 flat, more like it in the middle sector. But again, just for me, just losing a little bit of time. Now flicking it through the right-hander of turn 12. How is that valid, by the way? Coming through 12, now coming through the left-hander of 13. Really on the limit, Joe Murphy. I don't think this is enough to try and dethrone Renz Thomason at this moment in time. Joe Murphy, though, through the final corner, on the run to the line. Does he dethrone him? No, in the end, 10th, and he crashes immediately after the line. He was not happy with that lap time. Lost it in the final sector briefly. Think that turn number 12 cost him.
Yeah, maybe just a bit. Yeah, he could just... I mean, I think... For a second, I mean, you probably heard me just say no when he came through turn 12, and I thought he, like yourself, I just thought he'd cut it a bit too much, but in the end, it was valid. Clearly... just had all, at least one wheel inside track limits. But now, it's up to everyone else to respond. Joe Murphy, we know, will not be on pole position. So Renz Thomason is safe on that one. Of course, Renz Thomason does have another go at it. But Cameron's on a lap, Gabor's on a lap, and many others are as well.
Yep, Owen is the first one actually on a run, and he is absolutely to the 1,000th of a second coming through the first sector split. Really, really even compared to his previous first sector. Now coming through the right-hander of turn number 8, then through the left-hander now of turn number 10 even, then through the right-hander turn number 11. As you can tell, I've been off a week. Now coming through the right-hander turn number 12, 52 flat in the middle sector. So he is up in the middle sector. Can the Irishman try and find a lap time beyond Gabor, maybe beyond Cameron Dowds and Brando there down in 5th position? It looks to me as if it's Blanco on my screen, but it is Brando who's there in 5th at this moment in time. Owen now coming through the final couple of corners. On the run to the line, big squirrely coming out through the final corner. The Irishman on the run to the line. Goes third. Good lap time from Owen. Really good lap time from him. In the end, Quantum not improving. Cameron Dowds is up though by a 10th. Now coming toward the line, the flying Scotsman goes third ahead of Owen. A nice lap time being set. Renz Thomason though is purple in the middle sector. Epic Veil there goes 5th as well. But Renz Thomason, purple in the middle sector. 600's up. Now coming to the left-handers. Gabor goes quicker. But I don't think it's going to be for long as Renz Thomason now flies it through the final corner on the run to the line. This is surely pole position for the Dutchman. Just 600ths of a second in the end. It's Renz out on top. It's Gabor in second. It's Joe Murphy there in third. Anybody else improving?
Let's try and find out. Let's see if anyone else can improve.
Volokongan?
Yeah, Volokongan maybe has a little bit of time in his back pocket as he rounds the final corner. Overtake on to the line. What's it going to be for the Ferrari driver? He moves up in position. He puts Epic Veil down to P8. Brando's also up by about 3/4 of a 10th.
Yep, now coming through the McLaren, in through the left-hand return number 13, now through the right-hand return number 14 at the final corner. We'll see what the new TF10 man can do, formerly of TLT, now flying it on the run to the line. Brando, does he go pole? No, he goes 5th in the end, 13.1, very, very respectable lap though on the board. Dirk, I think, is also on a lap, but he's actually invalidated. That, my friends, is the end of quali, and it is Renz Thomason out on top. A 112.838 is pole position. Gabor there in second, Joe Murphy in third, Cameron Dowds in 4th. Top 4 in the championship, not in any particular order, but they are the top 4 in qualifying tonight. And that's a really big gap, actually. Renz Thomason to Cameron Dowds, 2.5 tenths in qualifying. It's huge.
Yeah, in today's era of league racing, that is huge. I remember when that... I mean, I remember the days when that was, good enough to slide on the front row behind Surprise and whatever. But, that just shows how... times changed. Renz Thomason, PB in the actual session. Well, what a time to pull it out, mate. Yeah, cracking lap for Renz Thomason. Again, another pole position for the Dutchman. But Gabor, at the end, has as good as matched him. Only half a tenth between them, but they do, as you mentioned, they have got a bit of a gap, in particular to Cameron Dowds. So, will that translate to race pace? Probably not. The DRS will probably be the overhauling factor will be too much for Renz and Gabor to maybe pull away. But on previous games, that gap could be telling enough to say, you know what, these two might be checking out from the rest of the field. But we'll see. They could. It is Hungary, so it is possible. If you are going to see it around any track where someone pulls away and checks out, this is certainly one of the more likely ones. So we'll have to wait and see.
We will definitely have to wait and see. Indeed, just so I don't give anything away, I've just gone to the intermission screen for now, but you guys can still hear us. Obviously, through that qualifying session, Renz Thomason just looked superior. Joe Murphy, on the other hand, I'll be honest, looked a little bit up against it. Against the cosh, he was out of sync compared to everyone else come the end of the session, and that was because he had 2 invalid runs, and those invalid runs put him on the back foot completely in that qualifying. So how does Joe Murphy now back up that? He's starting P3 ahead of Cameron Dowds on the second row of the grid. How does he back that up now from qualifying, and how does he forget about that and translate that into something positive in the race?
Well, I think it depends on what how much confidence he has in his race pace and his racecraft and whatnot. That'll go a long way if he's confident in that. If he feels like he can match Renz and Gabor, and from then on. And believe me, this I'm speaking with a lot of hindsight, from my career. But it was for me personally, looking back, especially towards the end of it, it's kind of a case of, especially in these kind of races, with the way this game is, this game is with the DRS, it's kind of important to remind yourself that I'm still P3. I'm in it. I'm in the conversation, and that's what. If I were Joe Murphy, I'd be trying to tell myself. It's not like, it's not like I'm down outside the top 10 on the back end of the top 10. I've got a bit of work to do. No, like the top 2 are literally right in front of me. I'm at the front of the second row of the grid. I'm very much, more than within a shout. And just make sure you've got through turn 1, gone through lap 1, and then you can work your way through from there. But that all depends on his confidence, and it's a very tricky thing to do especially kind of when you know what you can do, and then you kind of your head gets clouded with what you can do instead of kind of looking at the bigger picture and what you're actually trying to achieve. And what you're actually trying to achieve is, well, win this race, win this championship, and starting P3 is by no means a bad place to do that from.
Yeah, and Joe Murphy as well, also reporting that apparently he had a wheel disconnect. I'm not sure if that was believable, to be honest, on that final lap that we rolled on board with, anyways. But if it was a wheel disconnect, he has got plaguing issues potentially overseeing him, and that could be something to translate as well, maybe into the race from his perspective, hopefully to something positive rather than something negative if he has been having wheel issues. We're going to throw it over to the advert break in just a second, and then we'll be back with you to run through everything that is good about the Hungarian Grand Prix. So we're going to be back with you in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to WOR Console Tier 1. We are here tonight for round number 7 of Season 19. It is the Hungarian Grand Prix. My name is James Head, LCR Leopard alongside me in the commentary box. And Leopard, Renz Thomason, out on top in qualifying, out on top in the standings coming into tonight. 5 points over Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy's qualifying, something to forget about. Gabor starting ahead of him on the front row of the grid. He's third in the championship on 67. So it is literally, quite literally, all to play for.
Yeah. Got the front three guys at the top of the grid. Yeah, literally in no particular order: Renz, Gabor, Joe Murphy, and of course we've got Cameron Dowse just chilling behind as well, who is also in need of a big result. So it's got all the ingredients of an absolute classic here in WOR. And as mentioned at the start of the stream, it's gonna be a key race and potentially a pivotal race, depending on what happens, depending on who gets. If anyone gets a bit of bad luck or who gets a bit of good fortune and so on, it could play a huge role in where this championship ends up going. But right now, as it has been for a little while, it's advantage Renz Thomason once again.
It is advantage Renz once again, and currently he is one of the best on console right now. He is one of the best, if not the best, I would say, on console right now. really delivering. Obviously, he's joined Team TF10 recently from ET8, so that move definitely something to write home about. That was rumoured before we started the Legacy Division, of course, on Tuesday night, which I wasn't there for, but he did join straight after pretty much that race had ended. Same with Brando as well, obviously joining the Team TF10 lineup, so a lot of changes has happened in the last even 3 or 4 days since I've been absolutely ill and caking myself coughing over the last 3 days or so. Everything has now changed, and that complexion of the race is going to change once again because we have got, is it 35 laps around here? I think it is. I hope it is.
Yes. Yes, I want to say you're right there.
It's either 33
yeah,
or
I think
35.
So. I think it's 35. In fact, I'm almost certain.
I'm going to play the track map in the background just to run it through and see. Oh no, I've actually put this on the stream. 14 turns. Here we go. You'll get hopefully an answer very soon indeed. I didn't mean to do this.
You're gonna have to be quick if they start going.
Oh, there we are. We're back on the screen anyways. Yeah, it didn't have the lap count, but I'm sure it's 35 laps. Please correct me if I'm wrong. We are about to get...
I'm almost certain.
Yeah, we're about to get going. What is the strategy going to be around this track, though? Because normally it's mediums, hards, mediums, and it looks like there's a lot of hards I can see, especially from Rayen there in the Red Bull garage.
Yeah, but it looks like, a couple hard tyres, in particular at those at the back end of the field. It looks like the tyre of choice to begin with is a set of the medium compound tyres, and considering the use of the hard tyres from those towards the back of the field, suggests to me it's going to be hard for the second stint, but here we go.
The 500 lights about to go out here in Hungary, and it is. Lights on, away we go, and Rens Thomason gets a very good start. The ball alongside him might try and get across, but it's in the end, Rens Thomason that will take the lead down in towards turn 1. Joe Murphy and Cameron Dodge running behind as well. Joe tries to go all the way around the outside, and Gabor's a little bit deep into the apex there. Gets a really good run. Joe Murphy gets a little bit blocked there from Gabor on the outside. Rens on the inside. Gabor now takes the lead all the way around the outside. Can the homeboy Hero do it through turn number 2? Yes, he can. Gabor's in the lead. Rens Thomason in second. Joe Murphy there in third. Brando and Cameron Dowd fighting up the hill in towards turn number 4 as well. Mercedes just about ahead of the McLaren, who makes contact with the rear end of Cameron Dowd, but in the end, Gabor absolutely stole that start. Brilliant lead from Rens Thomason in second. Joe Murphy there in third. Rens caught napping.
Yeah, I think he just went in a bit too deep into turn number 1, and that left him vulnerable on the exit, and Gabor, the hometown boy, just says, thank you very much. I'm just going to steam right round the outside of turn 2, and I'm going to take the lead. The Alpine leads the way here towards the end of lap 1 of 35. And yeah, it's a crucial move as far as Gabor's championship is concerned. Joe Murphy has held position in P number 3. Cameron Dowd's fought off Brando as well to keep hold of P number 4. Try to think what's going on further back. None of the hard tire runners have made any inroads further back. But yeah, it looks all clean at the front. And yeah, crucial move at the front. Gabor leads the way.
Phantom's got a really good start as well, up 3 positions, passing Kongan early on as well. Ryan Spies are gaining positions, Epic Vale and Owen also gaining positions throughout this field, but Gabor leading the way, Rens Thomason in second, Joe Murphy there in third. Now they settle down, they're all on a set of medium compound tyres, first 15. Everyone else has either downwards on a set of hard compound tyres. Rayen's just been outdone by Oscar right down in the back of the field. They're having a real squirm coming in towards turn number 2 and 3 there. But Gabor leads the way, Rens Thomason there in second, Joe Murphy there in third, pulling away early on actually from Cameron Dowd in fourth. Rear end snap from Brando there in fifth through the opening lap. Owen there in sixth, Epic Vale, then Quantum Phantom, and then Kongan rounding off the top 10. Everyone now settling down into their rhythms. Rens Thomason already over the back of Gabor. Is this just the case now of the Dutchman letting the homeboy Hero have his own way out in front and then getting the lead back? Or is this purely going to be now tactical with DRS training in the lot?
I mean, look, tactics will play a huge role regardless, you know, especially around here. You know, there's not a lot of... Oh, Gabor nearly sideways entering the penultimate corner. Kind of just, as I think I said it earlier, it just looks like his driving styles look maybe a bit more all action, the car moving a bit more for the Alpine, but that's fine. As long as he's got it under control, he can still produce lap time and the tyres don't completely go through the roof. Who cares? But yeah, it's always going to be, you know, a tactical one. Realistically, you know, obviously the key opportunity is right down here into turn 1. That's your big opportunity. And then, you know, if you've set it up, or if you're close, if you may be able to, you know, push the DRS, push the overtake, and think about lunge here into 2. But beyond that, any kind of other move, it's definitely getting creative, to say the least. So it's going to be a race of attrition, to say the least. Tyres will play a huge role. Gabor again a bit sideways through turn number 4, but again he keeps it facing the right direction, which is all that matters at this moment in time. But yeah, I think the other thing that'll be interesting is how the tyres going to hold up. What's the drop-off going to be like? And if it is going to be a factor, who can hold on to them the best? Because that could decide this race if it becomes a factor.
Yeah, medium compound tyres are normally probably pretty good to be on in the first half of the race. We might see drivers pit in early, go on to set a hard compound tyres. Ren's all over the back, by the way, Gabor. Coming in towards turn number 12. Now to the left-hand of turn number 13. Joe Murphy all over the back of Ren's as well. He's over him like a hot rash right now. Coming to the left-hand of turn number 13. Now to the right-hand of turn number 14. About to go onto lap 4 out of 35 here in Hungary. Gabor leads the way, but for how long? Because Ren's Thomason is chomping at the bit, running down the hill. Now down in towards turn number 1. Cameron Dowds might be the one to watch out for as well on the back of Joe Murphy. Pulls to the inside on the Flying Scotsman. Tries to get the move done on the brakes. Joe Murphy slightly out wide. Compromises his run. But Cameron Dowds won't get the move, I don't think. It's half a car length ahead for Joe Murphy. Cameron tries to go all the way around the outside. Joe Murphy nearly into the back of Ren's. Just about kept that going in a straight line. Just about kept it third. Cameron Dowds' spatial awareness there was mattering in that battle because, in the end, Joe Murphy could have easily went into the back of Ren's. Gave him a lot of room, Cameron Dowds there, but I think his spatial awareness is actually why Joe Murphy is still not got any damage.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought Cameron had lost the back end through in the middle of that chicane, but Joe Murphy, again, just trying to defend from Cameron Dowds, and this is what can happen in trains like this. You try and defend from one car, and in trying to do that, of course, you're going to try and break as late as you possibly can, and you kind of end up overshooting, and you can really run the risk of going into the back of the car ahead, and that's what Joe Murphy basically did without any, drastic repercussions. And yeah, he's still holding that P3 for the time being, but Renz is all over the back of Gabor and looks like he might just have a bit more pace in the tank. The question is, does he have enough to overtake and then, once he has overtaken, pull away? We're about to find out. He's in the DRS, in the slipstream, but I don't think he fancies a move into one. You can see him backing out a little bit further back. What's going on further back there? There's all sorts of maneuvers going on further back, but it looks like it's kept in single file for the time being. Epic Veil lit up the rears on exit, and that's going to maybe give Quantum a sniff into turn 2. Nope, as expected. Here at the Hungary, very tricky. You've got to be very much, you've got to be a bit closer to make these kind of lunges as opposed to other tracks. Ooh, that's sideways. Looks like Cameron Dowd's going sideways through turn number 4. So already we're seeing the cars moving around quite a bit for more than just Gabor, more than a few drivers here.
Yeah, and he's 4.5 tenths off the back of Joe Murphy as well, so that's why he's running the dirty air, and that's why he's under pressure from Brando, more importantly from Owen and behind as well. The Irishman looking very strong in the early stages of this Grand Prix. Gabor there, a little leading the way, Renz in second, Joe Murphy there in third. Everyone else, I think, has just been very, very idealistic to just stay in behind, just let everyone do the donkey work out in front, and then it's their time in the second half of the race. I think that's how this race is probably going to go. Everything is just going to kick off in the second half of the race, and then it's going to kick off big time. Knowing the sim racing and knowing these guys out on track like we do, it probably will, as Volakongan is into the pit lane. As is Alpha Gully as well. This might be either damage, or is this what the early pit stops I mentioned about potentially coming into play? Volakongan's into the pit lane, no front wing damage on the car, that is purely tactical. Set a hard compound of tyres on the car, one's track position, Alpha Gully doing the same as well. Joe Murphy and Cameron Dowds that were side by side coming through turn 2, and it's a real box-on effect actually with Renz involved as well. Joe goes around the outside through turn number 3, Cameron Dowds trying to get the move now, down in towards turn number 4, can't find the way through. Gabor leads the way, Renz Thomason in second, Joe Murphy there in third. What I purely spoke about, 5 minutes ago, about early pit stops being made around this track, that's what's happening, that's what we've seen with Volakongan and Alpha Gully.
Yeah, that's a huge undercut to go for. I mean, I'm shocked. I'm almost certain. We'll see how it pans out. I mean, yeah, it does look like those mediums are moving around quite a bit. Maybe they're overheating slightly, but it'll be interesting what the actual tire wear of it is. And Hungary can do that. It's the turning is constant. They don't really get a break. So it'll be interesting to see if any of these front runners decide to bail. The other thing that could be is a 2-stop. I don't know how. I mean, Hungary's not the biggest pit lane. It's certainly doable. You probably would want to favour one, but it's certainly doable. Here comes Renz Thomas in the meantime. He's looking to the inside of Gabor, and I think he wants that lead the Grand Prix. He fires it up the inside. Is he vulnerable to a switchback, though? He's going to have DRS once again. Gabor's going to use the overtake, though. So Gabor wants to keep hold of this race lead,
Beautiful.
and he does just that. He fires it around the outside, and the hometown hero keeps the lead of the Hungarian Grand Prix. And now Renz is under pressure from the kickstart of Joe Murphy. But if he sends it into here, he's an absolute maniac. And, well, he doesn't. So good on you, Joe Murphy.
Yeah, and put it this way, he's definitely not like me throwing it into that part of the track
no,
as well,
what
because
have you done?
I did that once around here in Hungary, and actually
You
I will say
spanner.
I went on to win the race actually.
What manner of penalty did you get for it, though?
A few track limits penalties. I think it was about 6 seconds in the end, but yeah, a win's a win.
Dear.
A win is a win. Gabor on top, Rent in second, Joe Murphy there in third. Lap 7 out of 35, a fifth of the way through. Now Ryder making the move actually on Hazara, right down at the bottom end of the field of this grid. Joe Murphy makes contact there with the back of Renz. Not just there was a little bit of carbon fibre kicking off on the right-hand side there. Looks fine to me, but Joe Murphy ran into the back of Renz. Renz now on the back of Gabor once again, running down into towards turn 1, the Dutchman. Now kicking off as Spicer into the pit lane, going on Tresetta Hards. Renz leads the way. Cameron Dowds tries to go on Joe Murphy, very late on the brakes and towards turn 1, can't find the move. And in the end, Renz leads the way. Gabor there in second, Joe Murphy in third. Owen opening up an opportunity in behind on Brando as well, as is Epic Veil and Quantum. But everything now beginning to calm itself down once again. Renz now hits the front. He can do the donkey work. And he's got this real knack of driving, Renz Thomason, recently, where he can just try and put Gabor under pressure, put Joe Murphy under pressure, but he can easily dispose of a field within the blink of an eye, and that's what makes Renz Thomason the best on console right now. As I've just realised, there is no sound.
Oh dear, that's
there we go.
That's no good. There you go. You should have sound now, guys. But yeah, Renz Thomason, and you can see, I said times might play a bit of a factor. I think this is what's happening, because that gap is the largest it's got for a while, 0.6 of a second, and I did say if there is a chance of someone breaking the DRS, this track might be, you know, a place where it can happen, and Renz is really trying to eke that gap out, because if he breaks that DRS at this rate, he's going to be gone. In fact, it's an absolute send of an in lap, and Renz Thomason into the pit lane, as a few others. Gabor stays out. I wonder how that's going to work if Legacy Division needs to go by. That's a huge error.
It is a huge error, but it also means that Gabor has got 1.2 seconds over Owen. Now he's got a free gap essentially out on track to do whatever the hell he wants with. Renz Thomason into the pit lane now, held in the pit lane actually. Still held, now it's fixed. There we go.
Oh my!
Undercut.
Volkongen's lead this race, effectively.
Yeah. Position changes. Position changes. Volokongen and Dirk, 11th and 12th position. They pitted in early. Dirk especially early. Didn't even see him come in the pit lane on lap 4. They're down in 12th position at the minute, but they are the net leaders of the race, and track position matters so much around here. Volokongen has been in this position before, albeit on a set of inters around here. He did take the season 33 race win here in PSF 1. That was 32 laps on a set of hard compound tyres when the conditions changed right toward the end. Volokongen knows what it takes to win around this track. He has been out of form. Can he do it, though?
Well, he's got a long way to go, but he's done, you know, I guess the first part of the plan was to, you know, go for that huge undercut. And it'll be interesting to see what, you know, how much tyre he's going to have left. Gabor, Owen, all into pits, at least Quantum to have to go yet another lap. We'll see Ryderdal and Hazara are going to continue on, as will Oscar, as will Rain. So these guys will continue on, as will Andrea. But yeah, I'm shocked at how big of an undercut that is. It's just going to be interesting to see what that tyre deficit will be, because here comes Renz Thomason on TF10 Dirk. He's forced to the outside. I think Dirk might have got the inside of Volokongen. No, he won't,
wow.
Which means Renz will go clean around the outside. That's how much more grip he's got. He's out the DRS. He's going to use the overtake. He's looking for 2 in 1. It's the Dutchman, and it's right on the inside of Volokongen. He's dispatched them both in a blink of an eye, and Renz Thomason holds the effective lead of this Grand Prix once again. And meanwhile, Joe Murphy is going to have to deal with the pair of them in the coming laps, as will Cameron Dowds, as will Gabor, who's even behind Spicer. We also have a yellow in Sector 2. I think that is TF10 Rain, or was it Andrea?
Andrea. Yeah, it's Andrea Slow, I think, coming through the left-handed turn number 5. I've spun quite a few times, to be honest, around there. in time trial, and albeit in qualifying and indeed in the race around here as well, in various different races, so I know what Andrea's like. He has got a 3-second penalty, I believe, as well, that has just been picked up. Yes, he has. 3-second penalty on the card in the RB. Gabor, though, was the big shock for me. Look at where he's came out compared to Rennes, Volokong and Dirk. Look at where he is compared to Cameron Dowds even. Cameron Dowds is 2 cars ahead of him, but he's a second clear of him. And Gabor at this moment in time has had an absolute mare. He let Rennes Thomason have that gap. Andrea in the end retiring coming in the pit lane. He had Rennes that gap, and he's handled it pretty much on a silver platter. Joe Murphy trying on the back of Dirk in towards turn number 1. Rear contact there with the rear end, I think the right side wheel, actually the rear end, contacting with the back of Dirk's rear end. Don't know how you could manage that, but Dirk there, still in P8, Joe Murphy there in P9, currently net P in 3 and 4. Joe Murphy, though, needs to get this move done on the back of Dirk. Apply that pressure to Cameron Dowd, apply that pressure to Gabor directly in behind as well. Needs this move on Dirk.
Yeah, crucial for Joe Murphy to get past, and he might just have to try and be a little bit creative in this middle sector, or even the last sector, to throw it up the inside. Someone maybe get a run out of here. No surprise moves into the middle sector, and now it's just going to be single file through here. And now I think it's just going to have to wait for a bit of DRS. The problem is Dirk has DRS over Volokongen, but because he's coming so early, and Volokongen maybe just has a bit more raw speed over Dirk, which means Volokongen is holding on to the back of Rennes Thomason, which is, well, crucial if you're Volokongen. It might just mean Dirk gets pushed out of that DRS range, but I think he's just going to hold on to that DRS. But now, here comes Joe Murphy.
Joe, by the way, in the chat, spilled his drink, apparently. Joe Murphy on the back of Dirk, though, down in towards turn 1. The wing wag lane there from Joe, down in towards turn 1. Cheeky to the inside of turn 1. Gets the job done in the end. Not sure what that was about towards Dirk. Maybe saying, thank you very much, just get out of the way.
Gabor's round! Gabor's round, he's coming to contact with Spicer on the exit of turn number 1. It's a disaster for the Hungarian.
No front wing.
Has he got any?
Spicer's got no front wing. Spicer's got no front wing. Big impact there. Oh, and nearly Spicer off in toward the wall as well, coming out through turn number 3. Not sure what happened in the background. I was too busy looking at Cameron Dowds getting the move on Dirk, and in the end, I've missed it. Cameron Dowds is through on Dirk into 9th. Dirk there in 10th, but Spicer and Gabor, both sideways coming out of turn number 1, both now impacting damage. That for Gabor is massive. He was ending up in a bad opportunity anyways, with the position he was out on track. And then he's just had that contact with Spicer. What could possibly go wrong now?
He loses head and doubles the damage. It's probably, is one thing that could happen. Gabor's got to keep his head now and just try and think, right, I've got to get the best out of this I possibly can. And to do that, I've just got to reset for a moment or two. I've got the freshest tyres out of anybody in this field, so realistically, if I don't butcher it, the only place I can go is forward. Quantum went a long time on those tyres, by the way. He's going to be basically last when he gets out. Yeah, there we go. Pit limiter off for the Alpine. He's miles back. It's the Alpine, but he does have quite a few. That's much fresher tyres compared to everyone else. But yeah, on Gabor and Spicer. Gabor went for the move. Got the move done into turn 1, ran a little bit wide. That allowed potential cutback for Spicer, and they just got glued on exit. Just the lines merged on the exit of turn 1, and for a second I thought Gabor was going to save it, but in the end he couldn't. What the positive for Gabor is, I don't think he's got any front wing damage like Spicer did.
Oh,
the car round, that's TF10 Dirku's round, so I don't know what's gone on there.
Or is he just getting out of the way of everyone? Not sure. He hasn't got any left side or right side end plate damage. I can definitely report that. Dirk, not sure if he was just letting everyone through, unless he's made a mistake through the chicane and just thought, oh, you know what, I'm on all the tyres, I may as well let everyone through, and they can have their own fight towards the end of the race. And that is the case, fair enough. From him, down in P17 right now, Dirk, is he going to continue on in this race? That'll be the big deciding factor. No. Clearly an issue, I think. He's going to be coming in, I think, retiring, maybe the second now retiree of the pit lane. He's there, down in P17, into the pit lane, speeds it into the pit. That is him, job done, out of the race. Alpha Gully, Phantom and Owen, side by side down in towards turn 1 as well, and looking for some 13th position. On Friday the 13th, can Owen pull this move on the back of Phantom? Phantom, I don't think, is even close enough down towards turn number 2, and in the end, Owen gets the job done through, and he's into 13th. Phantom there, 14th. Alpha Gully there, C Gully in 15th. Joe Murphy all over the back of Volokongan, got that move done on Dirk, disposed of him very easily, and now, right on the back of Volokongan. Volokongan's got 3-lap older tyres. On a set of hard compounder tyres, that's probably to around about 10% difference in terms of the tyres Joe Murphy has got over Volokongan. This means Joe Murphy should realistically get the move done on Volokongan, but I know how Volokongan is around this track, and he won't give this up very lightly.
And he shouldn't give it up lightly. I mean, he's clearly got enough pace to stay, or, well, enough pace and enough tire to stay within DRS range of Rens Thomason, which is a huge helping hand, and it just means, you know, it forces Joe Murphy to think a little bit differently about how he's going to get this move done. Sure, he could still get it done into one, but he needs to be a lot closer, and it makes it a lot more difficult to get close to the back of Volokongan if Volokongan himself has DRS range, although he's using a lot of battery, I've just noticed, to stay within DRS range of Rens Thomason, so it could be just a matter of time before he runs out of battery, and Joe Murphy will be able to breeze on by into one. What's happening elsewhere?
The ball to the inside line of Ryan, get the move done. Epic bail through on Ryan as well, surely to the outside line of turn number 2. Williams is through on the Aston Martin. Has the Aston got right cylinder plate damage on the car? Oh, Ryan nearly sent round. Goodness me. Really, really hard control there from Ryan. Hard left, I think that was, from the German. He's there, back in B13. Now behind Owen. Unlucky for some for him. Looked like to me Ryan had right cylinder plate damage, but he definitely hasn't. That's just my eyesight clearly going. Phantom, though, on the back of Ryan. P14 as well. Mustache not too far off either. But Ryder now leads the way. Hazara second, Rayen in third, Oscar there in fourth. I want to come on to them briefly for a second. They are the front four out on track. Am I being mad and utterly, utterly mad? And this is me thinking completely outside the box. If we get a safety car or VSC in this race and they go on to a set of medium compounder tyres, they're going to be absolutely thrashing towards the end of the race. Are they within contention of outside points?
Definitely. You know, if they're going to be only throwing on, you know, if they're going to be throwing on a softer compounded tyre, it's definitely plausible. Well, yeah, Oscar's given up on that one. Here comes Joe Murphy to the inside of Volokongan, into turn 1. He had the drive, he had the overspeed, and he's got the move done. Cameron Downs, I think, is also going to follow along by, and now we have what we wanted. It's a three-way scrap between 3 title contenders for the Hungarian Grand Prix. We'll have a charging border throw to the mix as well, with him coming through the field. It's going to be a tasty remaining 20 laps or so, James.
It is going to be a very tasty final 20 laps indeed. Oscar there retiring out into the pit lane, so that is him now done in the kick Sauber. Obviously very, very late, even during halfway through qualifying. He wasn't even meant to race in the tonight. They're down in P18. Job done for him. He is out of tonight's race. Joe Murphy, they're on the back of Rens. They're on the back of Rayen. Rayen had a qualifying ban as well, just to throw that into the mix, but he gets out of the way, it seems, of Rens and Joe Murphy. Very fair play there from Rayen. Could have easily made it very spicy. Definitely for my co-commentator, who definitely wanted that spicy action out on track. Rens Thomason, though, Joe Murphy, they are now allowed to fight. Now allowed to go at each other's throats. Which, from my perspective as a viewer, not as a commentator, but as a viewer, that means everything. Because there's a championship battle going on. They're all pretty much tightly up. There's about 30 points separating them out on track. Cameron Dowds lunges to the inside line. Thought he was going to go for the move. But in the end, now we get to see Rens, Joe Murphy, Cameron Dowds, hopefully all at their best.
Yeah, it's going to be a crucial remaining 17, 18 laps or so in this Hungarian Grand Prix for the title. And as you know, as we can all clearly see, it's Rens, it's Joe Murphy, it's Cameron Dowds, 3 of the title contenders, all in one picture, all gunning for race victory, all need it as badly as each other. It's just a recipe for just phenomenal racing. Alpha Gully picks up a time penalty in the Williams towards the back of the field. Although Quantum's getting on now I've just remembered that, because he's obviously got the freshest tyres out of anybody, and he's just going to be on an absolute tear as he tries to make his way back through the points. So he'll be one to watch as far as, I guess, the lower end of the points taking positions go. Maybe even more. Whoa, Rain just backs out.
Oh,
I think again.
I thought you said it was raining out on track. Not yet.
To be honest, I think it's only got brighter since the start, so I'd be rather concerned if it was raining. And to be honest, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, Rayen there dropping down the field, so that might be him now done out of the race as well. Joe Murphy sends an attack on Rens Thomason, so does Cameron Dowds in towards turn number 1. Joe Murphy directly alongside on Renz, tries to get the move done. Coming out through turn number 1. Renz has a really good exit though, coming through turn number 2. And now they play the box effect. Nobody wants to take the lead in this race. Joe Murphy might have to though, all the way around the outside of turn number 2. Brilliant stuff by Joe Murphy. Gets the move done around the outside. Cameron Dowd is just sitting, rubbing his hands together, thinking, right, Joe Murphy can do one, I could do one better. This is now a direct fight between the front three. Joe Murphy, Renz Thomas and Cameron Dowd in a net first and second and third position. Beautiful move by Joe Murphy. Cameron Dowd is just sitting there in that helmet thinking, go on. Joe Murphy, though, has just been a 3-second penalty. 3-second penalty. That is open now to Renz and Cameron directly to fight together.
So, on track, it's still those three, but in terms of the actual race victory, we're down to 2, and it's Renz Thomason versus Cameron Dowd. It's first versus fourth in this title picture. Costly mistake from Joe Murphy in the kick-stabber. I mean, you mentioned it in qualifying, and obviously we all saw it looking a little bit ragged, and that you could argue is where the penalty has come from.
Yep, and he's been too ragged, I think, throughout this race, and that is why he's picked up the penalty. Renz now throws an attack, maybe down in towards turn number 1. Half look in the end from Renz. Bit of contact. Cameron Dowd nearly gets contacted there as well. Look to the inside line on both of them, but in the end now Joe Murphy to the inside line through turn number 2. Backs off Renz Thomason's now into the net lead of the race. All of this fighting, by the way, gap was 3 seconds coming onto the start finish straight. It's now 3.6 between Hazara and Renz. Not looking into that too often, but the more that they fight, the more they give to Rydell and Hazara later on in the race in terms of the compound. They're going to be nowhere near each other out on track, let's face it. But in the end, the more that these guys fight, the more that potentially they're going to let in Brando, Gabor, especially Gabor, I think.
Yeah.
All in there, in behind. Quantum's obviously making ground throughout the field as well. He could come directly into play. No matter what happens in the next 16 laps or so, this is going to be fascinating to the end.
Yeah, I think we'll also have, as you mentioned, we've got to keep an eye on a charging NVR Gabor. He's got the freshest tyres out of anybody in this kind of battle for race victory, albeit only a lap fresher. But it does mean he will just have that little bit more throughout the rest of this stint, and in particular in the last lap battle. Here comes Joe Murphy once again.
Easy, easy to the inside line, down in towards turn 1, maybe the easiest overtake you'll see all night. Joe Murphy into the net race lead once again. Look at the gap though, they are carving into that gap with Rydell and Hazara. 3.6 seconds, it's now 2.3. Running in towards turn number 2 once again. Renz just allowing them to sit in behind. I'll give you the first look at the telemetry of this race and how this might transpire towards the end of the final 15 laps of this race. Joe Murphy, at this moment in time, 43%. Renz Thomason, 59%. Coming through the right-hand return number 5. Cameron Dowd, 81%. Cameron Dowd, I've banged on about pretty much every single stream I think I've commentated on him, about his ERS usage. Not really on this game that he has had very good ERS usage in recent weeks and recent months. But now, in a scenario like this, Renz Thomason is on 63%, Cameron Dowd's on 89%, Joe Murphy on 37%. Cameron Dowd could run rings around these guys with his ERS.
Potentially. I mean, what I will say is with where they're using it and how they're using it, is a lot of it is getting dumped on that main, these main, 2 straights. Obviously, I've seen Joe Murphy use a little bit throughout the middle sector, so he's really pushing at this moment in time. I think he might be pushing to try and get within DRS range of Hazara, and he actually did manage that, so he's actually used a lot of battery to then be able to defend from Renz Thomason. So good thinking from Joe Murphy out in front. But again, through this middle sector, or sector 2 and sector 3, they are going to be charging up the battery a lot. I just think that it is a case of maybe Cameron's just deciding not to use anything in that main first sector, first sector. Joe Murphy a little bit squirrely on the exit of 4. And as you can see, Renz went from like 67.
He's wide. He's all over the shop all of a sudden now. He's now in the dirty air compared to Hazara. What I was going to say, just to briefly cut off you, Joe Murphy's catching Hazara and Rydell at the worst possible point on the track. This is the middle sector. This is the worst possible point to catch a car ahead of you out on track. Gives Renz Thomason, gives Cameron Dowd a look in. But Joe Murphy made a mistake coming through turn number 4, then made a mistake on the exit of 5. Again, maybe nerves creeping in, maybe something going wrong, maybe a slight wheel disconnect. I know we mentioned it earlier on. Is this now Joe Murphy beginning to lose concentration somewhat?
Potentially, again, he's just looked ragged all weekend, not looked settled. And now he's going to have to try and make a move on Hazara to try and give himself some breathing space between himself and Rens Thomason. And to be fair, these two cars could be the perfect time and place to do just that. If he can dispatch them and Rens can't, then he might be able to set about building that 3-second gap to try and win this race. He's got the overtake on now, as does Hazara, so that move is gone. He's really pushed that ERS just right behind Hazara. I think it's going to be a matter of time before we see Joe Murphy try something in the middle of the sector. Here he goes.
No way. Chicane never going to work, and Hazara's actually put off, and that now might actually bring Rodadal towards the second ahead of Hazara. That is bad news if you're Joe Murphy, Rens Thomason, Cameron Dowds. You've got Voller coming in behind you, 1.3 seconds, the gap extending away slightly. But Gabor is beginning to creep into this. Brandel's beginning to creep into this in behind. The more that they hold off the back of Hazara, off the back of Rodadal, the more that this is going to impede them in this race. Now he goes for moving towards turn 13. Surely the Brit's going to get the move done. Surely this is going to be job done on the exit. And it is, because Hazara was looking toward the pit lane there briefly, but Joe Murphy ran the outside of 14, does get the job done in the end. Beautiful move in the end, and now Rens Thomason sets his sights on the back of Hazara. Hazara, though's got the DRS. He's coming back in directly down in towards turn 1. Rens Thomason sends a lunge down in towards turn 1 on the back of the Norwegian. Surely it's job done for him. Should be job done for Cameron Dowds out of turn number 2 and 3 as well. Rodadell still leading the way, hanging on for grim life. Joe Murphy there in second. Rens, Cameron Dowds tries to outmuscle it all the way around the outside of the Mercedes against the Ferrari. To the inside of 4, to the inside of 3, Hazara nearly makes contact. Joe Murphy around the outside of Rodadell through turn number 4. Marvellous from Joe Murphy. Takes the race lead. Doesn't care about that 3-second penalty. Rodadell there in second. Now puts Rens under pressure. Rens has to find the move, and he does on Rodadell in the end. That could have easily ended up Joe Murphy escaping away, maybe winning that race, but in the end, Joe Murphy leads. Rens Thomason second. Rodadell in third. And now we're back to square one all over again.
Yeah, now Cameron has to dispatch of Ryderdal now. That's the only thing. Cameron Dowds made a beautiful move of his own, by the way, on Hazara. He also went around the outside of turn number 4. But now, Cameron Dowds has to make a move on Ryderdal if he wants to try and stick within DRS range of Rens and Joe Murphy. Joe Murphy, by the way, I think he was a bit wide. Was he wide through that penultimate corner? Wasn't quite able to see it. He was also nearly lost the back end through turn 5 on the exit last lap. And now, as you said, it's as you were. Here comes Cameron Dowds. Here comes Rens Thomason. Is he looking for a move to the inside? Is Cameron looking to the inside? Yes, he is up the inside. Joe's Mercedes, the back end of the car, not sticking. Not sticking under braking, moving under braking. It's the rear end of that Mercedes, and he can't get past Ryderdal. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear.
And all of that battling as well, look at what it's done in behind. Bolakongan, Brando, Epic Veil, Ryan, Gabor, Phantom, Quantum, Owen and Mustache are all in the DRS stride.
What's happened to Gabor?
P10. His tyres are fell off.
Sure. Well, no, it's got the fresh. What's happened? Because he was ahead of Epic Veil and Ryan. He was closing in Brando.
Oh, unless there's been an incident. Unless there's been an incident, potentially. Unless he's got maybe some form of damage, potentially, on that car as well. That possibly could be a reason. The Alpine, they're down in 10th position. The homeboy hero on the brink of the point. Rodadell and Zara, by the way, in all of this, have still yet to pit in. And now the front two begin to get away. Rens Thomason and Joe Murphy begin to get away. Cameron Dowds cannot find a way through. His tyres surely going off the cliff. Rodadell bailed into the pit lane. Now puts Cameron Dowds 2 seconds behind Rens Thomason. 2 seconds behind Joe Murphy. Now this is the race for the race win. Rens now sets his sights on Joe Murphy. Fights it now on the outside line in towards someone. Joe Murphy doesn't even fight that towards turn 1. Rens leads. Joe Murphy second. Cameron Dowds in third. 10 laps to go. Owen speeds into the pit lane. That is him done.
Indeed it is. Cameron Dowds, well, he's got a lot of battery to use, as you mentioned, and now it's the time to deploy it. He's already sliced that gap down to 1.5 seconds, and he's going to have to do a bit more than that if he wants to try and reel these front two in. I would say, knowing Cameron Dowds, he might just have a little bit to be able to reel that in. You know, maybe a bit of, bit extra tyre wear, a bit extra tyre life, maybe a bit more battery, as we can clearly see. That'll go, that'll be a factor. But he's got to really try just get this gap down. It's crucial for his championship, considering who is out in front of him at this moment in time, albeit with Joe Murphy having a 3-second penalty. He's got to get the hammer down, has to Scots, but this is a crucial 10 laps if you're Cameron Dowds.
And look at the gap. 1.6 seconds. That gap is not coming down. Renz Thomason and Joe Murphy are not going to work together. Put it that way. Cameron Dowds, though, at the minute, is losing time, I've got to say, to Volokongan. Volokongan is sticking with him right now. Brando is sticking with him, as is Epic Fail. Ryan can't get him outside of a second at this moment in time. Joe Murphy, though, sets his sights on Renz. Down in towards turn number 1. Is he going to go for the move around the outside? In the end, he does.
Whoa!
Renz backs off very late on the brakes from the Brit. Gets the job done on the Dutchman. The Dutchman will try and fight back down the hill, but in the end, Joe Murphy leads the way. Renz in second. Cameron Dowds in third. 1.5 seconds, back to square one once again between these two, this battle, but now Cameron Dowds is beginning to click, the gap is beginning to come down once again, 2/10 has been taken at this moment in time. Owen, by the way, complaining about Epic Veil in Discord, not going to repeat to you what's said, but I'm sure it is definitely going to be decided after the stewards. It does, yep. That enough.
There you go, then we'll briefly move on. Cameron Dowds still 1.4, so he's still trying to gain on Renz Thomason and Joe Murphy. Last time around he was losing a bit in this sector track. This time he's managing to hold station, which is a good thing, because if Renz and Joe Murphy do battle into one like they have past couple laps, that'll give him an extra couple tenths, and once again he's taken a few more hundredths out of the front too, so he's slowly but surely gaining. Gap down to 1.3, hovering between 1.3 and 1.4 for the Scots for 1.2.
Yep.
Not going to have any DRS this time, he's nowhere near close enough for that, but he is slowly reeling the front two in.
And here comes Renz on the back of Joe Murphy once again, down in towards turn number 1, outside line now for the Dutchman. The Brit stays in behind. Brando going for the move on Volokongan down in towards turn 1. Very late lunge in the end from the TF10 man, but he is through and he's into 4th. Gabor and Phantom also fighting further down the field as well. Phantom hopefully not going to be Casper the Ghost by the end of tonight. Gabor, though, on the back, looking to try and get the move done. In the end, Phantom on not fresher tyres, has managed to look that pretty easy. So Phantom through and he's into 9th. Gabor there in 10th, still on the real nitty-gritty breadth of the points at this moment in time. With the 3-second penalty beginning to pick up ahead, might gain a couple of positions, but Renz leading the way, Joe Murphy in second. That gap is completely stagnant now between himself and Cameron Dowds. 1.6 seconds, gap beginning to go up slightly. Renz made a mistake coming through turn 13, which I didn't actually mention, but he did definitely made a mistake. He ran wide coming through turn 13 last time around. But this race, at this moment in time, is doing a fantastic job. Cameron Dowds, by the way, at this moment in time, Tom Roberts saying in the chat, how is Cameron catching with wing damage? So it looks like Cameron Dowds, that gap may be closing with wing damage.
Minor,
the gap is stagnant, though. It's minor if it is, but from my perspective, it's enough for him to affect, and it's enough to affect the gap. There goes Joe Murphy on the outside of turn number 1 again, on back of Renz, and it's job done for Joe Murphy. Into the race lead he goes.
Indeed it does. It looked like Cameron was slowly catching when Joe Murphy was out in front. I think it really ramps up when Renz Thomason is able to hit the front in that Haas. So I think Renz definitely, pace-wise, just has a little bit more than anybody right now, which can kind of save throughout the rest of this, it's been the case for the season. Or just in general, just, any, whether it be here in Tier 1 or Legacy Division, what's happened up front.
Joe Murphy had a slight mistake there coming through turn number 5. Just put Renz within about 2.5 tenths of a second, but the gap once again beginning to try and extend away. The gap is extending now between Renz and Cameron Dowds. 1.9 seconds. The gap clearly, I think it's the left side that he might be missing a winglet off. It's very, very minute, but it is visible. It's on the left side end plate. It's not on the actual end plate itself. If it's on the winglet, and it looks like one of the winglets could be missing. So Cameron Dowds there, in third, definitely getting affected by some form of damage out on track. The gap now extending out to 2 seconds. Brilliant news for Joe Murphy. Doesn't need that 3-second penalty removed.
Well, it depends. If he beats Renz on track, here we go once again. Joe Murphy defends the inside line. Renz fires it around the outside. Sure, Joe Murphy was just early on the brakes or something, because Renz just absolutely dived it around the outside of turn 1. And he retakes the lead of this Grand Prix. Once again, does the Dutchman. But as far as championship goes, I mean, look, with Gabor having a bit of a shocker down in 9th, it's not gone his way for that Alpine. If Joe Murphy, if he can bridge that gap to 3 seconds, if he can't get, maybe if he has a warning that can be removed, it doesn't, whether it gets removed or not, it's not a huge disaster. It's only, 7 points lost. The gap will be up to 12 points. That's easily, can easily reel that in. And yeah, as you said, it's not a complete disaster. However, if he does manage to beat Renz on track, and he can get a warning removed, then who knows? He could be in, well, he'll be leading this championship if that's the case.
He will be leading the championship if that's the case, and this is why the final 6 laps matter here in Hungary. It's getting redeveloped in real life. No sign of redevelopment here in Hungary coming out through the final couple of quarters. On to lap 30 we go. Renz Thomason leads the way. Joe Murphy in second. And in the end, Joe Murphy... What the hell was that? Clueless as to what that was.
Why is off the back end? What's going on? Joe Murphy, what is going on? Was there a wheel disconnect?
It looked like that. It looked like that to me. But what on earth? Go on, continue on.
What is... I don't know what's happening, what it has done. We'll talk about the implications of it then, shall we? Because Cameron Downs has suddenly brought that gap down to nearly within DRS range. And, well, Renz Thomason is threatening to just sod off and take yet another race victory in this season. What has just... I'm baffled.
He surely wasn't attempting to go around the outside down in towards turn 1 and Renz just shut the door on him. Because Renz did not shut the door on him. There was no gap.
He went for a gap that wasn't there.
Clueless.
Usually we associate going for a gap that wasn't there when you go down the inside of a car, not when you go onto the grass on the outside.
But he had all the room on the right-hand side to try and move. Let's see what happens this time around. Going on to 31 out of 35. Joe Murphy, this time around, 5 tenths of a second. Can't make the same mistake as last time. Look at the battery, though. He is having to use up a lot of battery to just start... try and stay within contact as Ryan now gets the move done on Epic Vale. And there's a late lunge there from Gabor to the inside line. On the back of Volakongan, I think that is in the end. Sorry, it's Quantum even. Quantum. On the back of Volakongan. Tries to defy the laws of physics, going all the way around the outside of turn number 2. Quantum, Volakongan. My voice is going as well, as you can tell. Quantum forces them off track. Volakongan, 3-second penalty. That will definitely get sent to the stewards because it looked like Quantum forced him off there.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, not with any malicious intent, but yeah, just the way it ended up, obviously very tight through turn number 3. Cameron Downs is oh so close to the back. If he gets in this DRS range, he is in business. It's the Scotsman. He's dragging TF10 Brando along with him. I imagine say if this really does descend to chaos, look out for maybe if Quantum can get by Ryan or Epic Vale, because he's got much fresher tires than anybody else. I think Quantum's going to be on for a P5, maybe a P4 finish with the penalty. Look how close Cameron Downs is. Can he get within the DRS range? It's going to be oh so tight. Has he stuck in? He has stuck in. Has the Scotsman. Cameron Downs is in business here in Hungary. Now he needs Joe Murphy do him a huge favour and try and rough up Renz Thomason out front, but he's nowhere near close enough to do that. This race has turned, well, maybe not turned on his head, but it's certainly closed up massively. Goodness me.
I'm going to throw a huge curveball, though, into this race. Renz Thomason at this moment in time, 80% of ERS. Yeah. Joe Murphy, 24. Cameron Dowds, 8. Brando, 70%. There's the there's the curveball I want to throw in, because I think Brando's got a really good chance now, all of a sudden, of picking up a podium. No matter if Joe Murphy's penalty gets removed or not, he will probably not. But in the end, Brando is in a really good now chance of getting a potential top 3. May want an add on track though. Renz Thomason and Joe Murphy are now going to be tactical towards each other. Brings Cameron Dowds into play, brings Brando directly into play. So it's going to now be between the front 4. What was going to be Renz Thomason and Joe Murphy now could come an all-fisting fight for the front 4.
If you're Joe Murphy, you know you've got that penalty. Whether you can get it removed or not, you're probably, you got to assume the worst here if you're Joe Murphy. And I think you're going to do what he's going to do right now. And he's going to have to go for the move on Renz Thomason. He's going to try and level him down into turn 1. He does just that.
Oh, he's
blocks the rears though on entry. Renz Thomason will have the switchback.
Easy.
But Joe Murphy will have the DRS range. So Joe Murphy is looking to the inside of turn number 2. He fires it in there, does the kick Sauber. And now that allows Cameron Downs to get back in. Now then, if you're Joe Murphy, knock a few tenths off this lap maybe, and try and really bring Cameron Downs and Brando into play.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
That's the move here, surely.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
That's got to be the move.
I was just on board with Ren's. Ren's backed off the throttle, and now that gap all of a sudden 7/10 of a second. Ren's backed off the throttle, does not want the race lead going on to the penultimate lap of the race because he knows he's going to be vulnerable going on to the final lap of the race here in Hungary. Joe Murphy leads the way. Ren's Thomason there in second. Cameron Dowd in third. Brando in fourth. Buckle up, fasten your seatbelts. One wild and wacky ride's going to come in. Joe Murphy is nearly outside of ERS range. But at this moment in time, Ren's Thomason, full battery. Cameron Dowd, 52%. Brando on 78. At this moment in time, Joe Murphy is the one that could be potentially lacking in terms of the ERS department. Now coming through the final couple of corners onto the final 2 laps of this race. Joe Murphy leads the way. Ren's Thomason, though, is he going to set his sight down and towards turn 1? Not this time around. I don't think he's going to be late on the brakes. And no, he's not. He's just going to sit in behind. Let Joe Murphy do the donkey work, and this is Ren's race to lose.
Well, it is, because I think look, I don't know if Joe Murphy is doing this intentionally, unintentionally, you know, whatever it may be, but what he's done by getting to the lead is, you know, he has really backed up and he's given Cameron, he's given Brando an opportunity to maybe rough up Ren's Thomason, which means, obviously, Joe Murphy, whatever happens, loses less points to Ren's Thomason. And you can see, Ren's got so much more speed, but Joe Murphy's going to have battery. He's going to have battery. They're all going to have battery at their disposal when it comes to that pit straight. I don't know how this race has turned this drastically, but it's going to be so tight. I mean, Cameron Dowds is going to have a chance. Oh, no, not this again, lads.
Oh,
not
God,
this again.
no.
Oh, Joe Murphy.
And he's dropped to 4th. What? What the hell's he doing? Ren's Thomason's about to lead going on to the final lap of the race. That's absolutely baffling for us in the commentary box. Goodness me. Ren's Thomason.
DRS now.
He won't have DRS. It'll be Cameron Dowds that gets DRS. And do you know what? I'm all for it. Cameron Dowds now on the back of Ren's. Final lap of the race beginning here in Hungary. Joe Murphy now drops out the back of the front of the TV screen. Cameron Dowds has to send this around the outside. The Flying Scotsman tries to move through turn number 1. Doesn't in the end. Can't find the move in the end. Now coming down towards turn number 2. Cameron Dowds against Ren's. Ren's holding the line though. Down in towards turn number 2. Brando all of a sudden trying to go all the way around the outside on the Flying Scotsman, but he can't. Ren's Thomason leads the way. Has held him off for now. Will he hold him off though throughout this lap? Cameron Dowds there in second. Brando there in third. Joe Murphy there in fourth. Now flicking it right. Coming again through the right-hander at turn number 5. Then in towards the chicane at turn 6 and 7. Mistakes beginning to creep in. Cameron Dowds a little bit sideways. That left winglet damage definitely affected him through this part of the lap. Brando gets a really good run on the back of Joe Murphy. Holds the position coming through the left-hander at 7. Now through 8. Now through 9. Ren's Thomason against Cameron Dowds for the race win. Brando looks like to try and hold on for the podium. Now coming down the hill. Once again into towards turn number 12 for the final time. Ren's Thomason. Cameron Dowds will try as his must. How on earth is he going to try and get Ren's Thomason though at 3/10 of an advantage? It's surely too far back now as the Dutchman comes through the final corner in what has been an absolute classic here in WOR Console Tier 1. Ren's Thomason to the line. The king of console takes the race win. Cameron Dowds in second. Brando there in third. And Joe Murphy, all of that moving with that DRS training on the final lap of the race has put him down in P6 in the end. What has gone wrong for Joe Murphy in that race? Ren's Thomason, though, takes the race win. The king of console is back.
He is indeed. He picks up yet another victory here in console tier 1. Does the Dutchman. It will be his 3rd race victory of the season. He puts him alone at the top when it comes to race wins. And it puts him, you could argue, for the first time, we said it before this race, no one's really been able to stamp their authority properly on this championship. I think Ren's Thomason just has. With that race victory, he extends his advantage over Cameron Dowds and Brando. He puts them further back, puts them further out of range to try and take this championship. But he's also gained, what would that be for 6? It's 8 points, isn't it?
Yep.
So he's put... you know, he's now...
Right in the end.
No.
Oh, we should be back. There we are. We should be back. Continue on.
There we go. We're back. But yeah, Ren's Thomason, in short, for the first time of anybody this season, has a gap. He has something to really hold on to now in the final remaining 3 rounds of the season. And what better, what a better way to, to round off the year than to give yourself, to extend your championship lead from 5 to 22 going into the Christmas break with 3 rounds remaining. everyone else now, in particular if you're Gabor, in particular if you're Cameron Dowles and Brando, have a lot of work to do.
A lot of work to do indeed. Are we gonna get the results? I don't think we are, because I have came off early and hopefully. No, we're not gonna. We're on a black screen, so we're not gonna get the results. I will try and run you through though the results very, very swiftly indeed. Of course, it was Renz Thomason taking the race point from Cameron Dowd in second, Brandon there in third with Quantum in fourth, Ryan there in fifth. Then Joe Murphy, Epic Vale, Volokong, and Hazara and Ryderdale. In the end, Hazara and Ryderdale picking up points. Really well done to them, 9th and 10th in the end. Gabor there in 11th, Mustache there in 12th, Phantom in 13th, and then Spicer, who was nearly a lap down towards the end of the race. Transition from a set of softs onto a set of hard compound tires down there in P14. 14 finishes in the end. Renz Thomason, though, takes the race win. Cameron in second, Brando there in third. But what I want to throw it to is what the hell Joe Murphy was actually doing in that race, because in the end, he went from P1, leading the race, going on to the final lap of the race, coming through the right-hand turn number 12, through turn number 11 even, leading the race, dropping back to P4, and he's not only missed out on a podium, but he's missed out on a top 5 finish. Is that just pure stupidity, or was that Joe Murphy taking Friday the 13th quite literally?
You've sold the words right out of my mouth. There's no other way to put it. It is stupidity. It is. It's just like you're fighting for a title. Every point matters, and again he looked ragged through qualifying, as you said, and it just like the context of the championship just seemed to pass him by. Like he was 5 points behind Reds going into this. Now he's 22. I mean, sure that that was going to extend quite a bit with the 3-second penalty. It was always going to extend. But every point matters. In such a short season like this, there's 3 rounds to go. That gap could have been, it could have been 18, it could have been 20. It's baffling, just crazy.
I dare not
bonkers.
I dare not cough, but I dare not laugh.
You're dying as a result.
I am dying as a result. Goodness me. Yeah, Joe Murphy in the end. It's unfathomable. I mean, I've done this before in league races where I wanted to try and get a DRS train, but I've lost for words. I'm not normally speechless on a live stream, but I am, because I don't know what on earth he was doing. And in the end, he's actually put in the Discord. He jumped the throttle and his setup was poor. So apparently he said his setup was poor. I don't think his setup was poor. I think his brain cells were poor, to be honest. Track, because it's just he's just lost the podium potentially, and he's just lost a potential chance. If that comes back to bite him, with 3 rounds to go, Canada, Austria, Sao Paulo, final 3 rounds of the championship. That's a defining race for Joe Murphy's season. If that comes to bite him back up in the bum cheeks, which I think it's going to.
Yeah, I look, we all would love to see, a Sao Paulo finale. We all would. The way it's going, I can see Renz having this wrapped up by Austria. I really can. Obviously, he's gonna have no chance of wrapping up by next time out when we reconvene for the new year in Canada. But me and Gareth have been saying this for the past couple of weeks. All eyes have been looking towards Renz Thomason for this title, and it's it's a race like that that proves the point of why that is the case. I mean, and again, I remember saying at the start of the season, this race is going to be this championship is going to be won on consistency. Who can be consistent? Doesn't necessarily mean you have to win crazy amounts of races. In fact, I lied about him having two race wins. That is his second race victory of the season, which it still does put him alone. The only man with 2 race victories. But you look at everything else, and he missed a round in China, barring Singapore, which didn't really go to plan. I think that all unravelled in qualifying. he's been on the podium every other time, and that's what wins you a title, especially in such a short season, a 10-round season. If you can keep producing those kinds of results, especially when you look at what's going on around him, it's not a surprise that he's got such a huge, it's not a crazy huge gap, but it's not a surprise that he's finally beginning to eke out a substantial lead at the top of the standings. Because when if you were to get out the standings and look at the results, he's the only one that's kind of had this sort of consistency. The only one who's kind of also had a bit of consistency is actually Joe Murphy.
Yeah, and that consistency now has just disappeared, it seems, after that race for Joe down there in P6. It's honestly unbelievable. What we will do, though, is run through and rattle through what is to come going forward after the new year, because that is, I think, the final race, if I'm not mistaken, before the new year here in Hungary. We go to Canada on January 9th and January 10th, then it's Austria and then Sao Paulo to round off the season on 23rd and 24th of January. Could Rens Thomason or somebody else be crowned champion by then? Who knows? PC also going to be happening very soon. They've got Hungary coming up, in fact, on Monday. PC Tier 2 going to be among the feature streams for that. So that is going to be at 7 p.m. and 8 p.m. UK time, of course, as well. Hungary for round number 6, and then they've got China on January the 6th, and then it's Canada, Austria, and Sao Paulo on the 27th of January. So note the slightly later dates in terms of the PC's calendar. And also, we got WOR Legacy Division. I thought there was a race next week. There's not. I've got a week off, which is really nice. But in the end, we go to Brazil. We go to Sao Paulo on January the 7th, straight after the new year. The third quarter of the season beginning along with Miami, Las Vegas, Mexico, Canada, and Texas, the next 6 rounds of the championship. Leopard, of course, you covered for me on Tuesday night. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Normally a track that has featured a heavy amount, either as a start race or as an end race. This is bang in the middle of the season, round 13, unlucky for some, normally traditional championship finale. This should just set the tone right for everyone who's had a lot of Christmas pud and a lot of Yorkshire puds and a lot of turkey after the new year.
Yeah, for sure. It's an interesting place to put, a race like Sao Paulo. Obviously, I think is it a tradition now that Monaco is the opener for Legacy Division these days, or? There you go. So it's never going to be the opener, but it has been, an opener in the past for WR, I think, and or certainly for other leagues as well. But yeah, it's interesting to see it, put slap bang in the middle, or as good as slap bang in the middle. And yeah, it should be, Sao Paulo. I think, I mean, the last race we did as a commentary pairing was at Sao Paulo. It was round 4. If I'm not mistaken, of last season in Console Tier 1. And that was just utterly berserk. So if it goes anything like that, then come January 7th, I think you and Jota are going to be in for a treat.
We are definitely going to be in for a treat indeed. Of course, we have Japan, Hungary, Britain, Austria, Italy, and Belgium after all of those races as well. We end on the 2nd of April. I think that's an outdated calendar. Some of the dates might be wrong on there, but we will confirm that, of course, as we go forward. But that is it for tonight. Really hope you enjoyed it. I'm really thankful for having a voice towards the end of that race, because I was definitely struggling right towards the end. You were slowly
going, weren't you?
Oh, struggling, as is the case, I think, with my voice. Still recovering from being down with the flu last week, so appreciate everybody that tuned in for the stream. Appreciated everybody not coming into the comment section saying, James, you're an absolute crap commentator, things like that. Thank you so much for mentioning that as well. But I really enjoyed that. And in the end, more action to come. Don't despair. WR's done. PSGL, of course, is going along on Monday. Rens Thomason is behind in the championship going into Monday. So, will he bounce back? Will he follow suit from Hungary? Or will he try and bounce back once again in PSGL? Only time will tell. If you want more sim racing action, there is your fix on Monday night. Also, WR as well on a Monday night. May as well just throw it out there for PC. That is the more important one. PC is the more important compared to PSGL. I will reiterate that 100 times over on this live stream. Thank you so much, though, for tuning in. We're going to leave you with our sponsors, of course, Next Level Racing and Grid Finder. For myself, from Leopard, please take care of yourselves. Have a Merry Christmas. Have a very Happy New Year as well. Don't stuff yourselves full of turkey and be fat coming into the new year, because we've got Brazil, round number 13 of the championship for the Legacy Division, and then we've got Canada, round number 8 here in WOR Console Tier 1. Thank you so much for watching. Please stay safe over the Christmas period, and until next time, and the new year, goodbye.